with the interesting reveal that the next Smash Bros. DLC fighter will be from ARMS. There's been much speculation of who it will be, or if it will be more than just one character, similar to Bowser Jr. or Hero. One interesting thing about ARMS is every character has a unique quirk, and if the fighter was going to be one single character, this would tell us a lot. So I'm going to discuss their unique traits and see if they would bring something unique to Smash Bros. Besides stretchy arms. First up is the main character and protagonist, Springman, who is already an assist trophy, so his inclusion would be exciting for fans of other tragic assist trophies like Bomberman and Isaac. Springman's gimmicks are that he can parry attacks, and has a sort of aura or rage mechanic. Both of these are standard Smash Bros. Moves or mechanics. A timed shield use will instead parry attacks, and every character has rage, growing more powerful with damage. The best they could do is represent these attributes with moves or exclusive gimmicks would be a counterattack that kinda misses the parrying aspect, and to give him a unique rage mechanic that only activates at a certain percent instead of gradually over time, and that would be pretty underwhelming. If this is not a fighter that brings in multiple characters, Springman doesn't have anything new to bring to Smash Bros. Ribbon Girl, the female protagonist, has air jumps and can air dash. This is not very exciting because every character can double jump, and some have many jumps, and they could have a thrusting recovery move that is basically an air dash. But the air dodge is also kind of an air dash everybody can do, and thrusting recovery moves are really standard. If you really think about it, this kind of an attack would be a little redundant outside of strictly recovering, because of the stretchy arms. Going with Ribbon Girl would basically give you an aerial distance-focused Little Mac. Considering this, I think her shot as a standalone character are better than Springman, but barely. Next is Ninjara, the ninja character. He is able to use smoke bombs when air dashing, and teleporting if attacked when blocking. The smoke bombs just remind me of recoveries like Sheik or Mewtwo, or a unique visual quirk to the air dodge. Teleporting while blocking sounds like either a broken shield or a visual quirk to the sidestep. I could see it working as a somewhat unique counter though, where Ninjara teleports directly behind the player and can instantly attack, kind of like a combination of Greninja's down and side special. And that would be kinda cool. Altogether, he's far more compelling on his own than the protagonists, but a little derivative. I'd say he is plausible on his own mechanically. Master Mummy has the ability to heal while shielding and to have super armor and reduce damage as long as he is doing basically anything. Both of these sound super broken. I guess he could have a healing move instead of just healing on shield, but that still sounds really unbalanced. And if it's shielded, would make shielding irrelevant. He's kind of got the problem that while he'd bring unique things, they'd have to be heavily toned down to the point they would be less unique and possibly hard to understand. It's probably not his time to reawaken. Min Min's dashes can cause flinching or cancel attacks, so that could be a unique attribute to her running attack, or a side special, not the most exciting thing. Her other ability is her attacks get powered up after throwing, or by charging, and this lasts until she falls down. After just throwing would be so broken, but after charging wouldn't make it so different from something like Shulk's arts. She'd be a better choice mechanically than the protagonists, but only somewhat. Mechanica gains super armor like Master Mummy when doing just about anything, but also can hover, and her dashes have a variability due to being jet-powered. This could probably only really be translated by giving her a float like Peach, and or a recover like Rob. Nothing exciting, so I think she's also pretty unlikely. Twintel basically has witch time while doing most things, which would be broken, so it would probably have to be made a dedicated move. But then she'd just be Bayonetta with ranged punches. A little unique in look, but Bayonetta is still a ranged aerial character with most moves also being good close quarters options. Mechanically, her chance on her own isn't that great. Bite and Bark are essentially a tag team like Rosaluma and Ice Climbers. There's a slight variation in that Bark is less responsive and more automated, with the main abilities to occasionally attack on his own, follow Bite's attacks with his own to start a combo, and automatically tanking incoming attacks if Bite is blocking or at risk from a powerful attack. Bark can also be used as a spring. I could see this being translated in a couple ways. Bark could exist solely on the background plane, launching punches and jumping into the action plane to take hits and being part of a rush coil-like move. The problems with this method being that he would be confined to the stage and Bite would have no recovery off stage. The other option would be the more straightforward Bark is always on the action plane like Luma and the second Ice Climber, so play would require positioning Bark to be repeatedly used as a spring and to block attacks. The question being, would Bark follow you off stage? Because it could look kinda janky. Regardless, it'd probably be a single recovery per stock, unless Bark just magically returns to the stage. These two would definitely be unique, but could also be way too complex to understand with their stretchy arms and unique tag team mechanics. These are also probably the least popular characters, so I'd put them right below Ninjara. Kid Cobra can dash a lot. That's really it. I mean, while dashing, his attacks become aerials if you find that exciting or even possible in Smash. The short hop seems as close to the ground as aerials really work. I have to put him at the bottom. It's not even a damaging dash. And if it damaged, it'd need cooldown frames, and that would defeat the point of making him a quick, snaking opponent who can dash a lot. Felix, our DNA boy, cannot jump. He can change height instead, and then pull his legs up to his head and fall from there. He stretches because in 3D he can bob and weave to dodge attacks. In all honesty, his stretchiness would be better as a sidestep visual. I guess you could make it a mechanic by letting him duck to just under Pichu's height, and stretch and not have a hurt box between his legs and shoulders, and then his double jump pulls his legs up. This would still give him the terrible recovery though. I guess he could thrust his head up and bite onto the stage. It'd be unique, but have problems to overcome. So I don't think he's that likely. Max Brass, the antagonist of the series, is basically Springman with the added bonus that throwing or charging up an attack gives him temporary super armor, and makes all attacks more powerful. All that for simply charging or throwing sounds kind of broken. Maybe if it lasts for like 3 seconds? I mean, it's more than Springman has going for him mechanically, but not that viable in my eyes. Lola Pop can inflate herself when shielding, which is basically just a visual quirk, right? Well, yes, but actually no. She has the other unique ability to walk while shielding, and if she shields in the air, she can bounce off of the ground like a rubber ball. I could see this being done if you jump out of shield, or shield in the air and instead of an air dodge, she kind of thrusts in a direction and falls downward, locked into at least one bounce. This would give her crazy mobility with a shield up, but would probably be best paired with a Jigglypuff shield that is instant death if broken. This would be very unique and straightforward to understand, so mechanically Lola Pop is far and away the most likely we've looked at. Miss Sengo is going to be rough to explain. Basically think Shulk's Monado arts, but triggered by shielding or charging attacks for long periods. He has a spirit buddy who cycles through 3 affinities and can be worn as a mask that will possess him. Red greatly reduces his mobility but pumps up his defense and attack. Blue is the reverse, granting him better mobility but making him weak and fragile. Yellow plays into the rush system, which I'll get into for how I think the ARMS character will actually play, and we'll get to it. To greatly simplify, though, the rush system is basically the Flurry Rush from Breath of the Wild on a timer. He can also choose not to wear his Spirit Buddy and have it as a temporary shield. The most unique thing he has going for him is that his Monado arts can be left on the stage for a second as a meat shield. I honestly would put him just above Ninjara. Springtron is a lot like Springman, but he's got a spike-like mechanic where if he fully charges an attack, he gains a sort of aura that causes damage and flinching. This could be extremely broken, but would be pretty unique if balanced. So I'll put him just above Bite and Bark and below Ninjara. Dr. Coil, the secret antagonist, like Felix, cannot jump. Nope, she can fly freely. You'd have to nerf her, but then she'd basically be Peach. Upon knockdown or after shielding for a long time, she becomes invisible. Fully charging an attack will also briefly generate an extra arm. Having an extra arm would not be that unique, and basically just give her a combo starter. Turning invisible upon knockdown would actually be very unique and pretty cool. But outside of that, I'd say her chances are around Bite and Bark. Okay, so yeah, that was kind of a long way of saying most of these quirks wouldn't translate well to Smash Brothers, or are stock mechanics in Smash Brothers. If I'm being honest, I think there was enough to work with just the basic ARMS mechanics, and they could save character-specific mechanics for a potential second ARMS fighter to be a sort of semi-clone variation in Smash Bros. 6. Here's my prediction for how the ARMS fighter will play. First, they will 100% have a long-distance grab. It'll be pretty well telegraphed, but make the threat of being grabbed almost constant. The fighter may not be able to run, instead dashing a short distance. If the direction is held after dashing or jump is held through landing, you will be able to pre-charge your next smash attack and any chargeable special moves. They will have a special rush gauge that slowly fills and fills quicker by fighting. One of their special moves will fully expend their built rush power, dramatically increasing the speed of all attacks. However, receiving any attack will instantly end rush. Their tilt, specials, and smashes will all be long-range attacks, with the rest of their attacks being quick, safe, short, and mid-range attacks. One of their specials will reflect the main gimmick of ARMS, and be fully controllable in how it curves, allowing for edge guarding and off-stage play from the safety of the stage. This will be their big unique thing. For obvious reasons, this attack will have reduced knockback, but will be effective for thwarting recovery attempts or forcing launched opponents into the blast zone when used by skilled players. Their final smash will be Headlock. They may also have a move to switch between a few different arm types to grant new and different attributes to attacks. They will be a multi-character fighter consisting of 4 or more likely 8 characters. Because of their very different body types, Master Mummy, Max Brass, and Mechanica will not be one of the characters. My predictions are Springman, Ribbon Girl, Ninjara, Min Min, Twintel, Kid Cobra, Lola Pop, and Masango. Springtron's model will replace Springman's for the assist trophy. Future games may potentially promote some of these alternate skins to characters if this character ignites interest in ARMS. What do you think the ARMS fighter will play like? And do you think they will have an additional gimmick to just the standard ARMS mechanics?